All right, what is going on, guys? UFC Vegas 100 has gone and passed. That amazing main event. And these are the fights to make after UFC Vegas 100, Magny versus Prates. I got some fighters on here, some winners, some losers. Not a lot of fighters on this. Honestly, I just don't give a shit about most of the fighters on the card. So I just got what I thought were the notable fighters on the card, and screw all the rest of them. So, starting off with Abdul Malik Mansour, if I said that correctly. Did good in his fight, got the finish in the first round. He's young. He doesn't have very much mixed experience in fights. I think this was his, seventh fight? I think it was his seventh pro fight. So, we're going to give him a slight step up in competition with Jung Young Park, the Iron Turtle. Pretty good grappling, okay power. Very good test for any young up-and-coming prospect in that middleweight division. He's good on the ground, so, even though Abdul's got some good wrestling, he's going to have to be careful if he does get the takedown, dealing with him on the ground. Moving up, Gaston Bolaños beat Cortavius Romeus via decision, clear decision win. Cortavius was the favorite to win the fight, but was able to keep it up on the feet, reverse positions, and do better work on the feet. Was able to get that decision win. Had Cortavius hurt, I believe it was in the second round. Had him hurt pretty badly. I thought this was an easy, no-brain fight to make. Damon Blackshear, they fought on the same card. Now, Blackshear did get a first-round finish, so he doesn't fight all that frequently, so I don't know how much that'll, them being on the same page as when they want to fight next. But I love matching the guys together. I can't do that, can I? Is he featherweight or bantamweight? 1 second. Alrighty, I'm back. I have no clue. For some reason, I thought Damon Blackshear was a featherweight for a second. So yes, you could definitely match them up together. I think this would be a good fight for both of them. And again, if either one of them want to go anywhere in this bantamweight division, which is a talent-stacked division, that's for sure, especially the men's division. The women's bantamweight division's terrible. A win over one other would be great for them. Moving up, Jillian Robertson gets a decision over Luana Pinheiro. 29-28 decision. Didn't look as good as she did in her last couple of fights, but she looked decent. I think she needs to work on her striking a little bit. She's doing good on the takedowns, okay on the entries, but I think a good step up in competition for her would be Marina Rodriguez. She's like the gatekeeper of the top 10 in the women's strawweight division. Been in the top 10 and even the top 5 for as long as I can remember. Solid fight. She's kind of older, on her way out. So it's almost, really she's past her prime. So she's honestly just a stepping stone at this point. If she can keep sending back these up-and-coming contenders in the women's strawweight division, or can she hold her spot? So I think this would be a great fight. She said she wanted to step up in the rankings. I think she deserves it. We're going to give her Marina Rodriguez. Moving on, co-main event. Gerald GM3 Meerschaert loses the fight. Looked pretty decent in this fight, I'm not going to lie. I thought he looked good. Take a little bit of time off, not a whole lot of time. I'm not sure when this fighter hasn't fought in a while, and that is Andre Muniz. Andre Muniz, kind of older as well. I believe he's 34, 35 years old. Meerschaert's like 36, I think. So they're kind of both older fighters. Muniz, terrible striking, only decent on the ground. I think Meerschaert has better striking than Muniz, probably better power, and Muniz might have the edge in the jiu-jitsu advantage. I might give him that, but I think Meerschaert probably has the wrestling advantage. Good fight for a couple of older guys in the middleweight division. Put it on the prelims of a pay-per-view, sometime in like February, March, or that wouldn't make sense. February pay-per-view is in Australia. So put it on a pay-per-view in March, put it on the prelims, or put it on a shitty Apex or Fight Night. You can put that on the main card of a Fight Night. That'd be a solid fight for any Fight Night main card fight. Moving on, the winner of the co-main event, Rener de Ridder. I can never pronounce his name correctly. Renner to Ritter. Gets the win over GM3. Didn't look very good, in my opinion, in this fight. His striking is awful. He looks terribly awkward on the feet. But he did get it done. So he can look like shit all he wants, just like Dricus du Plessis. He can look like shit all he wants, but he gets the wins. That's all that matters in the end. So, with him being a former two-time one championship champion, he gets his win in his debut over, I would say, the gatekeeper of like top 20, maybe top 15 with Gerald Meerschaert. I mean, if you can beat Gerald Meerschaert, you're most likely going to be able to get into the top 15. So yeah, we'll say the top 15, similar to Neil Magny. Let's go ahead and give him the gatekeeper of the top 10 in the middleweight division. And that is Jack Hermansson. Jack Hermansson hasn't fought in a while. He's older as well. I mean, I'm pretty sure Jack Hermansson's like 34, 35 years old. If he can get past Jack Hermansson, give him somebody in the top 5. And then if they can get past somebody in the top 5, give him a title shot. He's older. He's really good on the ground. That's about it. He's got some okay kicks. Hurt Meerschaert at the end of that first round, but I think it was kind of a happenstance of landing the punch and whatnot. Striking's not very good. But I think this would be a good fight. I think he'd probably be able to beat Jack Hermansson. And again, this is another one of those fights. They could make it an Apex main event. They could put it on opening up a pay-per-view maybe, or on a fight night card. If it's not the main event, you can put it on the main card of a fight night. Pretty solid fight for that. Moving up, Neil Magny loses, brutally knocked out in the first round. I do want to clarify something. In my post-fight, I said that it looked like Neil Magny took a dive. I was seeing people saying that online. After I uploaded that video, I saw some other angles of the knockout. He definitely did not take a dive. He was knocked out. He needs to take some time off. And when he comes back from taking a little bit of time off, I'm saying at least 3-4 months he needs to take off before he starts training again. Excuse me. Alex Morono. Alex Morono hasn't looked good in his last few fights. He's older. He's not as old as Neil Magny. I believe he's like 34 years old. Trading wins and losses. What did he lose to Nico Price in his last fight, I think? If I remember correctly, it was Nico Price. Just give Neil Magny meh. Like, people around his age. Put it on a freaking shitty fight night prelims. You know what I mean? They like to tote Magny out there, and they can't really build up anybody else. They got Morales and Prates. They built up off, I mean, they built Ian Gary and Shavkat with wins over Neil Magny as well. Because if I remember correctly, Magny has like the most wins in UFC welterweight history, like most significant strikes in UFC welterweight history, most fight time in UFC welterweight. He's got all these accolades, but not much to show for it. But yeah, give him Alex Morono. This would be a good fight for him. Morono doesn't have crazy power or anything. He's not some young, hungry, up-and-coming prospect like the last... I mean, every fight, his last 5 fights, what has he fought? He's fought Shavkat, young, up-and-coming prospect. I mean, he's not that young. Ian Gary, young, up-and-coming prospect. He fought Mike Malott, where he got the win there. He fought Philip Rowe, beat him. Young, well, he's not really young, but he was an up-and-coming prospect that kind of derailed. Neil Magny derailed that. Then you have Prates, his last fight, Michael Morales' fight before that. All they're giving Magny is young, up-and-coming prospects. For a change, let's give him someone around his age who would put on... It would be a good striking performance. I mean, Magny might try to grapple him, but I think this would be a good fight. Moving up, main event. Carlos Prates knocks out Neil Magny in the first round. Calls out 2 names. Calls out JDM in Perth, which I really like that matchup, but I went with the second bet, which is Jeff Neal. I would rather him fight JDM in Perth. Or is it Perth or Sydney? I can't remember. I think it's Sydney. In February on that pay-per-view. But if for whatever reason he's still out, I would rather them just put this fight on there. I understand they're not both Australian, but Jeff Neal, still I would say a fan favorite. He always goes out there to fight. And Jeff Neal didn't take any damage in the last fight with RDA. It was like within a minute and a half or something like that, the fight was over. So get Jeff Neal versus Carlos Prates. If RDA went out there and legitimately beat him, I would say, maybe don't give him Jeff Neal. You know, let him fight somebody a little bit lower than Jeff Neal in the rankings. Plus, Colby Covington recently said that he would like to fight JDM, and I would rather see that fight personally. Although, who knows if Colby would actually accept the fight. But I think, regardless, this is a great fight. You could put it on the Sydney card, even though, again, neither of these are Australian. It would still be a great main addition to that pay-per-view in Sydney. I think it's Sydney. Hopefully it's Sydney. I keep saying Sydney. Hopefully it is. But anyway, what do you guys think of these matchups? Do you got any matchups that you would rather see than the ones I have up on the screen here? If so, let me know in the comment section down below. Make sure to subscribe if you are not subscribed. Drop a like on this video, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.